This last year has got me thinking really hard about pacifism. And if I'm a pacifist, because I probably would have argued before 2022 that I was a pacifist. I was 10 or 11 when the September 11th attacks happened. So I was pretty young. I didn't really have a political ideology at all. And I was pretty young still, 13 when the invasion of Iraq happened. And so I still didn't have that much of a political opinion. But over the years, as I started to develop a political opinion, it definitely leaned anti-war. I was not a fan of what was happening in Iraq or Afghanistan. And as the years went on, it became more and more like, let's just get the troops home. Let's stop messing in people's business. This is not good. Forever war is not okay. Don't like this. And largely that's still intact, honestly. Largely those views are still intact with me. But I've reframed them from pacifism, from it's never okay to hurt another human, there's absolutely no reason for violence since the invasion of Ukraine has happened. Because I've seen war very much closer than I ever have before. And that's really changed my perspective quite a bit, honestly. Now I would classify myself as anti-invader, which means anybody who invades another country, for whatever reason, I'm largely against that. I'm largely against countries meddling in other countries' political affairs, like what the US did in South America that created such a clusterfuck there. I'm pretty against us invading in the Middle East, everything that happened with Afghanistan and Iraq. I totally understand needing to take out Osama bin Laden and some anti-terrorist stuff, but full-scale invasions like we did, absolutely not for that. And likewise, not for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's a intellectually consistent position. I really had to kind of wrestle with that because it was a long time. It was like, okay, I don't like guns. I don't like any kind of war. There's never a reason for violence. But that position has really shifted because I'm seeing just unbridled evil and just complete disregard for human life. People just killing people for no reason other than that they can, and they were brainwashed to hate them and believe that they were evil Nazis, that being the Russians killing the Ukrainians because they were told that they're Nazis. And it's horrific. It's just absolutely horrific to see. And the only logical response is to strike back with force. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be peaceful and just let you kill me. No, you have to strike back. You have to, because, maybe if it was one independent person who's just like, okay, this is my morality and I'm okay dying, that's their business. But when you see just the mass scale, if you're like, oh, it's okay that Russia's killing all these innocent children and women and men in Ukraine who are civilians and didn't ask for any of this and aren't Nazis. And you're like, well, I stick to my principles of pacifism. That's some bullshit. That's some absolute evil bullshit. And honestly, I see that a lot on the far left. I see a lot of people being like, have to make peace. Peace, not war. Peace. Just, we have to negotiate with Russia. Peace. And it's mindfuck for me because it doesn't make any logical sense. Because why? I mean, if you break it down to a small scale, it's like capitulating to a bully. He comes, beats the crap out of you, says, give me all your fucking lunch money, and you give him your lunch money. What's he gonna do? He's gonna come back the next day, give me your lunch money. He's gonna come back the next day, give me your lunch money, give me your lunch money, until somebody stands up to him and punches him in the face and says, F off. And he realizes that he can't do that anymore. It's the exact same situation, but on a mass scale with far worse consequences, with thousands dead, cities destroyed, billions and billions in damages, people without power, people without heat, people without internet. It's absolutely horrific, the amount of death, destruction, people whose lives will never be the same because they've lost a limb, they've lost their sight, they've lost family members, and they're just not okay anymore. And so the idea of pacifism to me is honestly a disgusting one because it really just paves a way for invaders to do whatever the they want. Because if a pacifist gets into a fight with a non-pacifist, the pacifist isn't going to do anything and the non-pacifist is just going to kill him. And it's that simple. And so I love the idealism of pacifism. I think in an ideal world that would be beautiful. Absolutely. But we live in the real world. where pacifism is not a viable option. You're going to have evil people who want to do violence, and unfortunately, the only solution to that is good people who are willing to do violence to protect those who can't protect themselves. And this has really complicated my thinking in many ways, because for a long time I was very much ban all guns, take them away in the US, take guns away. And I'm still not sure. I'm still really kind of working through that one. But does the good guy with a gun have some validity? I have to do some research on the small scale, if it does or not. But certainly in Ukraine, the good guy with the tanks, the good guy with the HIMARS, the good guy with the anti-missile systems makes a huge difference. It saves a lot of lives of Ukrainian civilians, and hopefully we'll be able to contain and stop the Russian aggression. Hopefully Russia will collapse, and then the world can get back to some kind of order. Ukraine can rebuild stronger and more democratic than ever. That's the ultimate goal. The point of this video being that my position on pacifism has changed so dramatically from being a pacifist to accepting that sometimes violence is needed, sometimes violence is the only solution, and becoming, rather than anti-war, becoming anti-aggressor. So hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you a pacifist? Are you more of a war hawk? Are you someone who has my kind of in the middle position that says we don't like it, but unfortunately sometimes violence is necessary, and I'm just anti-invader, anti-aggressor, and support people being able to defend themselves when they're attacked?